If you want to create content that connects, then it's time to ditch your generic content pillars. Welcome to Content Catalyst. I'm your host, Szabo. I'm a marketing strategist and video coach. And in this episode, I want to walk you through how you can create content that connects by developing content categories specifically for your business and how you help your ideal client. In last week's episode, we discussed your content marketing strategy, and continuing with this today, we're now going to define your message further. So, what are content categories? Some people may refer to them as content pillars, and they might be referring more to social media. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might be hearing people say, if you want to create content, make inspirational content, and then educational content, behind the scenes, and entertaining content. However, this is an approach rather than a content bucket or category because it isn't tailored and specific to your audience and the product and service that you offer. So content categories relate to your industry, your business, and how you help people. And it gives a broad range of topics and themes for you to create content for not just your social media, but for all your content marketing. So your podcasts, your blogs, that kind of thing. It gives purpose for your messaging. So when you develop your own content categories, you not only make inspirational, educational content that connects with your client, but for your social. When you develop content categories, okay, let's just start again. If you want to create content that connects, then it's time to ditch the generic content pillars. Welcome to Content Catalyst. I'm your host, Szabo. I'm a marketing strategist and video coach. And in this episode, I'm going to walk you through how to create content that connects by developing content categories specifically for your business and how you help your ideal client. Now, in last week's episode, we discussed your content marketing strategy, which covered about who your ideal client is and their vivid story, which was talking about their need, their challenge, and their pain points, which then went into your solution and how you help them, which created those results. You can go back and listen to that episode, and there's also a template in there which can help you define yours. However, this week we're going to talk about content categories. What are they and how do you use them in your business? So what are content categories? Now, sometimes people have referred to them as content pillars, and that's what I'm talking about, ditching those generic content pillars. And if you've heard the term before, create, one day of educational content, one day of inspirational content, behind the scenes and entertaining content, and mix that up in your social media. That's what I'm referring to. However, these are an approach of a content rather than a content category. However, these are an approach rather than a content category because it isn't tailored and specific for your audience and your business. Content categories relate to your industry, your business, and how you help people. So it gives you a broad range of topics and themes to create content, not just for your posts and reels on social media, but for all of your content. So think your podcasts, your blogs, that kind of thing. And it just gives your messaging purpose. When you develop your own content categories, you not only make inspirational and educational content that connects with your clients, it will also help you build authority as well, because people listening to those topics, they'll feel like that you're listening to them and the content is resonating with them. It's going to make them feel like you know them. So let's just break it down and look at what that means. So before you begin, it's important to know, like I mentioned before, is who is your person you're talking to? Have you defined their needs and how you help them? So go back to that vivid story outline that I mentioned. And then once you've done that, you'll then list out between 4 to 7 elements of how you help people. So let me give you an example. So here are mine. So my content categories are, I've got 5 of them. And that's why I say sometimes people have a lot. And that's why I say 4 to 7. I've got 5 that I stick with. So I've got strategy, tech, gear, B-roll. And B-roll is video of people, places, and product. And then A-roll, which is talking on camera. Okay, so then once I've got those 5 elements of my content categories, then I'll break that down further. So I'll pick one of those content categories, and in this instance, I'm going to say A-roll, which is talking on camera, and then I'm going to break down and I'm going to list down as many things that I can think of that relate to my service that I offer and my audience's need or pain point or challenge. Okay, so let's look at that A-roll. So I've got talking on camera techniques, script planning, storytelling, teleprompter, what to wear, hooks, going live, camera angles, voiceovers, how to be confident on camera. So these are all things that relate to the content category of A-roll. Okay, so once we do that, then we can break that down further. So let's look at the approach that we can take. So the approach is the angle of how we're going to present that information. So I can choose to do a behind the scenes, educating, storytelling, and entertaining. So if we were to break that down and we go A-roll, I might choose scripting as the subcategory, and then the approach. Okay, I could do a routine. And if I was to do a routine, it'd be, here's how I plan out my scripts. If I used a storytelling angle, I could do, last week I was planning out my content when blah, blah, blah. If I was to do a mistake approach, I could go, stop doing these 3 things when making a video. If I did a tips approach, I could do, here are 3 tips to scripting out your videos. And then I could do a tutorial, which is a step-by-step guide. Here is my step-by-step process of creating a video, from scripting to recording to editing to posting. So once you've got all of those things listed out, so for each one, you might have, you know, up to 20 things that you've got listed under each of those categories. And this is how we never run out of ideas, because just there alone, with one category, I've then got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 subcategories. And then I also have another 5 approaches to tell that story. So if I think about how I plan out my content, I have an annual planner, so I know my themes for each month, and my theme will relate around to my launch content, what's happening that time of year. So last month I spoke a lot about podcasting and gear and equipment, so microphones. And this month I'm talking about content marketing and strategy, because I've just launched Content Catalyst membership, which is a marketing hub. And so all this month, I'm bringing all of those content buckets, those content categories, into my overall theme. So how does this work if we were a different business? Let's talk about that. So just before, so I plan out my annual plan, and then I will go into my monthly calendar, and I will jot down each idea on each day. And the easiest way to do this, when you've got, say, 5 content categories, and you're making content 5 days a week, you do 1 a day. So I know every Tuesday I'm going to be doing tech tips, for example. And then on, Mondays, I'm going to be talking strategy. Wednesdays, I'm going to be talking about camera techniques, and gear on Fridays. So again, I can take different approaches, which gives that story, that reel, that video, that blog, whatever it is, a completely new lease of life. So let's look at some businesses now and how they might have different content categories. So let's take a skincare range. So Mondays, they might talk about each product. And Tuesdays, they might talk about how to use each product. So let's say they've got a cleanser that they're focusing on for the week. So they might feature the product. I have a new cleanser. And then Tuesdays, it's how to use the cleanser. Wednesday, it's about the ingredients in the cleanser. And then 4, you talk about the complementary tools that you might use. So wash your, use a new washer every week, or here's the face washes that I recommend. And 5 would be day 5 would be the results. So then I could actually show a before and after of why this matters and how you help people and demonstrate what you do. Let's take a winery. So Mondays, you could be talking about what's happening in the winery or the cellar door. You could be looking at Tuesday is a wine in focus. And then Wednesdays is about what's happening in the cellar door. For Thursday, you could be talking about your events and then the regions and then how to best enjoy it. So there's 5 different content categories that you could use if you're a winery. What about if you're a wellness coach? Well, we could talk about our services. Then we could talk about the impacts of who you help. Strategies. So, for example, if you were a wellness coach and you were saying to people about exercise more, exercise would be the actual content category, but then you could look at different types of exercise based on different people's needs. So, for example, yoga is a really nice meditation and movement exercise, where swimming is good if you're not able to run. And then we talk about, let's say, you're a real estate agent. A real estate agent, you don't want to just be selling open homes. You want to be able to, like every day, talk about something different than saying, here's my house today that I've got on the market. So again, Mondays you might do open house. 2, you might be showing people how to get their home ready for getting, buyers. Wednesdays is all about market insights, what's happening out in the marketplace with interest rates, that kind of thing. 4, your neighborhood spotlight. So instead of going, this place is in Terrigal, you could actually go to a cafe in the school or a park to show the neighborhood. This is the beautiful beach here at this suburb. And then, of course, getting, your buyer ready as well, things that they need to know. So there's 5 different categories that you could use if you're a real estate agent. And just on that, if you then was like, okay, so Tuesdays I'm going to do getting your house ready, that's the category. The subcategory of that would be things like how to declutter your kitchen, how to make over your front yard with $100 budget, how to make another bedroom out of a study. These are the things that will help with people connecting with you and also building your authority. Let's look at if you're a lifestyle furniture business. So you might have a product focus again, and then the next day you go how to use it. And then next day is styling. So how to style your coffee table, or it could even be something like how to style an Airbnb bedroom to get a 5-star review. And then 4 would be behind the scenes, so a day in the life of, and that is because you've got a lot happening behind the scenes. So you could show packing orders, new deliveries, styling a new room, doing a consult with people. So this is why you would actually have that as a category, because there's so many things, so many subcategories that you could layer into that, and then your trends. So if you were doing your 4 to 7 content categories, separate each one of them, pick a day of the week that you're going to actually talk about each one, and then list as many things that relate to that in problem solving, their needs of your customers, and then what you offer. Now, the other way to do this as well, and this is a really good thing to when you start to get your calendar all set up, is that I like to create segments, and segments work really well to build your credibility, and it also works to help your audience expect and follow along with what you're doing and look out for it, and you can promote it, for example, and it's good if you want guests on. So if you had a skincare, you could do self-care Sundays. If you had a winery, you could do the cook-up and feature a food and wine recipe in the kitchen each week. If you're a wellness coach, you could do the tea as a segment, and that's like tasting different health teas, herb teas, and explore the benefits. Now, that's not to say that you're a tea expert, but what it does, it gives you a topic to leverage as far as having a point that people relate to that's within the realms of your industry. And the wonderful thing about that with a topic like, say, the tea, is that you could then get your guests on as experts, and that can be a conversational point as well. If you were a real estate, how could you make a segment? Well, each week you could be coming live from a different business and feature that business, because when we collaborate with other people, our share increases as well, because they're likely to share what you're doing. So you could be coming from a different cafe each week to get your morning, coffee. And if you're a furniture business, perhaps you could do something like Makeover Mondays and you show a before and after. So these are some ideas on creating segments. And if you've done any of my webinars or anything, you'll know that I talk about Trinny Woodall, and her business is Trinny London, which is a cosmetic and skincare company. She's based in England, but she's had some TV series of what not to wear. And she is an amazing person at content marketing. And the reason is she does two segments that I love following along at. And that is she's got Friday Twinning with her and assistant, and they just dress up and it's fun. So that's the entertaining content that she creates. And they talk about a different color or a style of dress or something like that. And the other one that she does is Closet Confessions. And her Closet Confessions might, again, relate to what I'm going to pack in a weekend away, or I'm going to feature coats because it's winter and here's how you style them. The thing is about segments, it helps people to follow on. And as you can see with Trinny, she doesn't necessarily, yes, she's in fashion, but she actually sells skincare and cosmetics, but it still relates to her overall topic of what she does. And that's help women look better about themselves. So that's why I say, have a think about what can you create that you're passionate about. I know for me, I do like Wine Wednesdays where I, have a glass of wine and I talk about my topics of, strategies. So it's one of those things that it doesn't always have to directly relate if you're creating a segment to your business, but it could be something that you introduce that the audience loves to follow along with as well. So as I mentioned, I begin with my annual planner and then I map that out, and then I begin with my calendar and I sit down and work out what I'm going to be talking about each month, and I sketch that out. So I use monday.com and I have a planner in there, a calendar in there, and I'll sketch all my topics out. I'll build my emails around it, and then I will also build my podcasts and all my other content around those topics as well. So if you would like some help with all of this and creating your own content categories, because sometimes you hear this and go, oh my God, how do I do this? Jump on my website, because I can do one-to-one sessions with you to actually tailor your content. And the other thing is I've just launched Content Catalyst, which is a marketing hub. It's a member community. Where we take action. So we learn each month and then we take action in our workrooms, because when we implement, we get results. And that's the biggest thing that why I wanted to create this. So Monday that just went, we had our first session, and that was speaking about identifying our ideal audience and a vivid story. And then next week on Monday, we are diving into actually creating those personas. And then we're going to get into our content category. So it's not too late to jump in and be part of our members community. Jump onto my website if you want to know more details, which is debszabo.com. And happy planning. Yeah, there's a lot to do in this foundation stage. But once you do these exercises, these are the three main exercises that I do. And once you've got that set up, you will have content forever. You'll never run out of ideas. And this is because you will then create content that connects. Until the next episode, I'm Deb Szabo, and thanks for listening.